Gaijin has some really cool and unique WarThunder premiums that you can buy. One of those is the Stritzwagen 103-0. The Stritzwagen 103 is a pretty interesting main battle tank. Yes, I know a lot of you guys are probably like, wait, it's not a tank destroyer. No, it's not. This was in fact, actually, I believe outside of German World War II, fixed guns, this was the only sort of vehicle to go into full production with a fixed gun. And what's pretty cool about it is the design that it is classifies it as a main battle tank and not a tank destroyer. Now, the premium one sits at a BR 8.0 and offers you some pretty unique features. You do have a pretty powerful gun and a decent armor-piercing discarding sabot round. I personally have a really hard time adapting to aim this gun. If you guys are new to the game, you're also probably going to have a lot of issues with the hydraulic tracks and hydraulic systems that you have on board the tank. I will say the 4-second reload and the fact that you have, such a good round for distance, and your armor, being the sloped armor, is an absurd, is absurd at ranges. You're going to have a lot of vehicles are going to have a very hard time being able to actually penetrate, much more or less actually kill your vehicle, especially at longer ranges. Now, at close ranges, you're going to struggle a lot more than anything that has any sort of turret, because obviously they are able to just kind of point and click and kill you. You can't really do that. Another interesting thing to note about this vehicle is once you lose your engine or transmission, you're going to have a really hard time to actually maneuver the vehicle, because you don't have a turret. You can't turn to fire on anything. If you lose a track, however, you can still turn your entire vehicle using the hydraulic transmission. And I will say the fact that you don't have the turret it makes it wacky. It's kind of weird. It's a learning experience, especially because you're at 8.0, and there's actually the good Stritzwagen, the 103C, is 9.0. So you can imagine, you can see things like the T-72 terms in this vehicle. You can see very, not necessarily in this version. We're talking about the 103-0. This only has APDS. The 103C has the access to armor-piercing fin discarding sabot, and it says a 9.0, great round, really good vehicle. But we're talking about the premium one. Now, if you guys should actually buy this vehicle, that's a whole other thing. Personally, as fun as it is, and it's really fun, don't get me wrong, it's not, I'm not going to deny that I don't necessarily like this vehicle, because it's just a really hard learning curve for me personally, but it is really good. You have a great round and a great gun at 8.0, and so if you guys learn it properly, you're going to have a great time. But you actually, the learning it is the big issue, but if you actually should buy it, I personally just think no. There's just so many better vehicles at 8.0 for grinding Sweden. You have the Vidar. You could pair this with the Vidar technically if you really wanted to. Wait for a sale, GE sale or pack sale or whatever, and purchase them. And yeah, that's a decent lineup. But in my opinion, you're much better off going with the Vidar. The Stritzwagen 103-0 though, it's an option. It's an option to to keep in mind. I'm not saying never consider it. I'm just saying understand that it has a very, very interesting learning curve, and that might not be for everyone. Definitely test it out before you're ever going to purchase it. And I also want to note that you can also just, end of the day, just get the Vidar and grind. There's, I believe, 2 different Stritzwagen 103 versions in the tech tree. You're not going to be missing out. This isn't a hidden behind the paywall premium one. You get access to multiple versions in the tech tree. And I know a lot of people, when I talk about the Stritzwagen 103 with my friends, they're actually surprised to learn that this tank was a full combat service vehicle. It wasn't a test vehicle. It actually entered service with the Swedish Armed Forces, and so it's not a what would you say? It's not a paper vehicle. It's not a non-realistic vehicle. It is a fully, full battle tank. It was fully used by the Swedish military, so it's not one of those ones that only 3 were ever made. It was tested. It was fully used, I believe, until 1997 actually. So it had a long life with the Swedish military. Just really unique vehicle. The president for the United States at the time, I don't remember his name, actually stated that it was a very capable battle tank that the U.S. Army had looked at it and tested it, and they said it actually had superior firepower to the American M60s at the time, but did not fit the Army's criteria with the, because it doesn't have a turret. They liked the turret. They didn't want to go to something that, they said, I believe they said it was a pure defensive tank, which is fair. Sweden's not going to go around invading other nations at the time. Even now, really. So they really just need a defensive tank. Anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. If you guys are not already subscribed, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Make sure to join the Discord link down below in the description. And I hope to see you guys in a later video.